Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English in Moments. I am Elena, your host for today. It is so wonderful to have you here with me, whether you are joining us for the very first time or whether you have been learning with us for a long time. Every single person watching this video right now has already taken a very brave and important step, and that step is simply choosing to grow. So before we even begin today, I want you to take a small moment and appreciate yourself for being here. That matters more than you know. It really does. Because learning a new language is not easy. It takes patience, it takes courage, and it takes a quiet kind of determination that most people do not even realize they have inside them. You have that determination. The fact that you pressed play on this video today is proof of it. If you are new to the channel, let me take a moment to tell you a little about what we do here at English in Moments. We create lessons every single day designed for learners at every level, from complete beginners who are just finding their way, all the way to upper intermediate learners who want to polish and sharpen what they already know. We have already covered many A2, B1, and B2 lessons designed to help you improve your English faster, with more confidence, more comfort, and more joy. So whatever your level is right now, whether you feel like a total beginner or whether you already know quite a lot, you are in exactly the right place. This lesson was made for you. In today's session, we are going to dive deeply into one of the most powerful skills any English learner can ever develop. This is a skill that will completely change how you learn new words, not just today, but for the rest of your English journey. We are going to learn how to understand any English word without always needing a dictionary. You will learn how to unlock meaning through context, how to make smart and natural guesses, and how to train your brain to recognize patterns in English automatically. Whether you are reading a story, listening to a conversation, watching a movie, or practicing English with a friend, the techniques in today's lesson will help you grow your vocabulary in a way that feels natural, exciting, and effortless. By the end of this video, you will know how to understand unfamiliar words completely on your own, and you will discover how to keep expanding your vocabulary every single day until fluency no longer feels like a distant dream, but a real and reachable destination. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you never miss out on new lessons designed just for you. New videos go up every single day, and each one is crafted to give you real, practical English skills you can use immediately in your life. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and get ready to build your English vocabulary with me today. Let's get started. Now, before we jump into the lesson, I want to say something important, and I want you to really hear this. It does not matter whether you are a beginner, an intermediate learner, or already quite advanced. This lesson is for you. Learning a language is not a race. There is no finish line you have to reach before someone else does. Every single word you learn, every sentence you understand, every moment you feel a little more confident, that is progress. And progress, no matter how small, is always worth celebrating. So if you are a beginner and some of today's examples feel a little fast, that is perfectly fine. Pause the video, go back, and repeat as many times as you need. And if you are more advanced, use this lesson to sharpen your intuition, the natural ability to feel what a word means before you even look it up. That intuition is what separates a good learner from a truly fluent speaker. Now, with that said, let's begin. When you first start learning English, the number of words can feel completely overwhelming. There are hundreds of thousands of them, and you might feel like you need to memorize every single one. But here is the truth, and it may surprise you. You do not need to learn every word directly from a dictionary. In fact, depending only on a dictionary can actually slow you down. Why? Because it trains your brain to rely on translation instead of understanding naturally. Think about it this way. When a baby learns their first language, nobody hands them a dictionary. Nobody sits them down and says, "Now, memorize these 500 words." Instead, the baby hears the same words again and again in different situations, surrounded by actions, emotions, and real life. And slowly, without even trying, the meaning becomes clear. That is the natural way the human brain learns language. And today, we are going to work with that natural process, not against it. Today, we are going to develop a powerful skill together, the ability to understand any English word, even if you have never seen it before, by using your brain, your imagination, and the context around you. Let's start by picturing a simple situation. You are reading a short story in English, and you find a new word. At first, you might panic a little. You stop, you reach for your phone, and you quickly type the word into a translation app. You see the meaning, but a few minutes later, you forget it again. Sound familiar? That happens to almost every learner. And the reason it happens is that you did not really understand the word in context. You just translated it. That is not how lasting memory works, and it is not the best way for you either. Instead, the goal is to train your brain to stay calm, notice clues, and make smart guesses that connect the word to the story or conversation around it. Let's practice this together right now. Imagine you read this sentence. She opened the curtains to let the sunlight brighten the room. Now, maybe you do not know the word curtains. Instead of stopping and searching, you look at the rest of the sentence. You see sunlight. You know that we open something to let light inside. So you can guess that curtains probably means the cloth covering the window. And you are absolutely right. That is exactly how you start learning words without a dictionary. You used the world around the word to find the meaning. And that skill will serve you every single day for the rest of your life. Here is another practice example for you. Read this sentence slowly with me. The children were chuckling in the garden as they played with the puppy. Now, maybe chuckling is new for you, but look carefully at everything around it. Children, garden, puppy. This is a happy scene. Kids are smiling, having fun, feeling joyful. So chuckling must mean laughing in a quiet, gentle, happy way. And again, you have understood it without translation. Take a moment and read the sentence with me slowly. The children were chuckling in the garden as they played with the puppy. Let's try it again, but this time, imagine the happy sound of laughing. Picture the children's faces. Hear the soft giggles in the garden. Picture the puppy jumping around excitedly. This technique, connecting a word to a sound, an image, and a feeling, is one of the most powerful memory tools in all of language learning. You see, words are not just collections of letters. They are feelings. They are images. They are actions. They are emotions. When you connect a word to an experience in your mind, your brain does not need a dictionary to remember it. The word becomes alive. And here is something very interesting that I want you to know. In English, there are actually many different words for different kinds of laughter, and native speakers use them with great care and precision. For example, a giggle is a light, silly laugh, often from children or in an embarrassing moment. She giggled when she heard the funny joke. A chuckle, as we just learned, is a quiet, gentle laugh, often to yourself. He chuckled while reading a funny article. A regular laugh is open and natural. We laughed loudly at the comedy show. And then there is bursting out laughing, which means suddenly laughing very loudly without being able to stop. She burst out laughing when she saw his costume. And there is one more beautiful expression, roaring with laughter, which describes a whole group of people laughing together very loudly. The whole audience roared with laughter. When you know all of these different words, your English sounds much more natural and expressive. And now that you have learned chuckle in context, all the others will feel much easier to understand too. This is what we mean by learning in families. One word leads you to many others. Now, let's talk about daily life situations, because context is not only found in books, it is everywhere around you, every single day. Suppose you go to a cafe and you hear the waiter say, "Would you like a refreshment with your meal?" Maybe refreshment is new to you, but look at the situation. You are in a cafe. The waiter is offering you something to go with your food. It must be a drink or a light snack. Yes, refreshment means a drink or a light snack. Isn't it amazing how the environment itself teaches you the meaning without you needing to open anything? Here is another real-life exercise for you. Imagine you are watching a movie, and one character says, "I can't believe how gigantic that building is." If gigantic is new, do not stop the movie. Just look at the situation. They are staring at a building with wide eyes. The tone of voice shows surprise and wonder. Gigantic must mean very, very big. Try this one out loud with me. Gigantic means extremely big. Now, say the sentence out loud. That building is gigantic. Picture a massive skyscraper in your mind as you say it. And while we are thinking about size, it is useful to know that English has a beautiful ladder of size words, from tiny all the way up to enormous. Tiny, small, little, medium, large, big, huge, gigantic, colossal, enormous, immense. Each word carries a slightly different level of intensity. So instead of always saying big or small, try using more expressive words. Not just, "It was a big problem," but "it was an enormous problem." Not just, "The ant is small," but "the ant is tiny." Small changes like this make your English sound much more vivid and natural. Now, I want to take a moment and talk directly to those of you who might be feeling a little stuck right now in your English journey. Maybe you have been learning for a while and you feel like your progress has slowed down. Maybe you understand a lot, but something feels like it is not moving anymore. This is called the plateau, and it happens to almost every language learner. Your brain has become comfortable with what it already knows, and it needs new challenges to keep growing. The solution is not to study harder in the same way. The solution is to change the way you practice. Stop memorizing lists. Start reading short stories. Start watching short videos. Start noticing words in context every day. Even 5 minutes of active noticing is worth more than 30 minutes of passive memorization. You are not stuck. You are simply ready for the next level. And this lesson is going to help you get there. The key idea at the heart of everything we are doing today is that your brain is much smarter than you think. It has the natural ability to solve little puzzles when you see or hear new words. Every sentence gives you hints, like clues in a mystery story. And the more you practice noticing those clues, the stronger and faster this skill becomes. Let's do a mini exercise right now to test your detective skills. Listen to this sentence. After the long journey, they were completely drained and sat down on the grass to rest. Which word might be new for you? Yes, drained. Now, think like a detective. They had a long journey. They sat on the grass. They need to rest. What do people feel after a long, hard journey? They feel completely empty of energy. So drained must mean very tired, having no energy left. Speak it with me now. Drained means very tired. Good job. This is exactly how you grow your vocabulary naturally, one smart guess at a time. Now let's build on this with more practice. I will give you several sentences, and you try to guess the meaning of the new word in each one. Do not worry if your guess is not perfect, because even guessing is training your brain to think in English. Every single attempt, whether right or slightly wrong, is building the skill. Ready? The little boy was quivering in the cold winter air. What could quivering mean? Think. Cold winter air. Your body shakes when it is cold. So quivering means shaking because of cold or fear. Let's try this one out loud slowly. Quivering means shaking because of cold. Here is the next one. She peeked at her watch before leaving the house. Watch. Before leaving. You do not stare at your watch for a long time. You look quickly and briefly. So peeked means looked quickly. Shadow this one with me. Peeked means looked quickly. Another one. The garden was radiant with flowers in the spring. Flowers, spring, garden. Bright, colorful, full of life and warmth. So radiant means bright and shining. Let the word fill your mouth. Radiant means bright and shining. Now let me give you some more words to try. The baby clutched her toy tightly and refused to let go. Think about it. Baby, toy, tightly, refused to let go. Clutched means held very tightly with a strong grip. He trudged through the deep snow, each step heavy and slow. Deep snow, heavy, slow, difficult movement. Trudged means walked slowly and with great difficulty. After the argument, the room felt tense and uncomfortable. Argument, uncomfortable, a heavy feeling in the air. Tense means full of stress and nervousness, not relaxed at all. She beamed with pride when her daughter won first place. Pride, won, happy moment. blossomed means smiled very broadly and joyfully. The old man shuffled down the hallway in his slippers. Old, slippers, hallway. He is not walking fast or confidently. Shuffled means walked slowly, dragging the feet slightly along the ground. Use your voice for each sentence. Then close your eyes and picture the scene clearly in your mind. That picture is your memory. That picture is what makes the words stay with you permanently. Each time you do this kind of exercise, you are training your brain to stop translating and to start thinking directly in English. And the more you practice this way, the faster you become at understanding new words the very moment you first meet them. Your brain learns to recognize the arrows, those hints and clues that every sentence contains, and to follow them straight to the meaning. Here is a very powerful trick I want to share with you. Instead of trying to memorize words alone and out of context, always keep them inside a story or a picture in your mind. For example, do not just learn the word quivering by itself as an item on a list. Imagine yourself on a snowy morning, standing outside, shaking because you forgot your jacket. Feel the cold on your skin. Feel your body trembling. That picture, that physical feeling, will stay in your memory much, much longer than any dictionary definition ever could. Give every new word an experience, and it will never leave you. Now let's explore something fascinating about the English language itself, because I think understanding where English words come from will help you see patterns you have never noticed before. English is actually one of the most uniquely mixed languages in the world. Over thousands of years, it absorbed words from many different languages and cultures. The basic everyday words you use all the time, like house, hand, friend, eat, and sleep, come from Old English, which was a Germanic language spoken over 1,000 years ago. The more formal and academic words like education, structure, vision, and describe came into English from Latin. Many polite and food-related words like beef, pork, restaurant, beauty, and government came into English from French after the year 1066, when the Normans conquered England. Many scientific and medical words like biology, psychology, and democracy came from Greek. And even mathematical words like algebra and algorithm came into English from Arabic. This is why English sometimes feels like two different languages depending on the situation. Everyday conversation uses simple, short words. Academic or formal English uses longer, Latin or Greek-rooted words. And once you start recognizing these roots and patterns, the whole language feels less like a mystery and more like a fascinating puzzle that you can solve piece by piece. You are doing beautifully. We have covered a lot of ground already. Take a quick 10-second reset here. Drop your shoulders, take a deep breath, and let that information settle in your mind. Ready? Let's move forward. One of the strongest skills you can develop as an English learner is the ability to notice word families. Many English words come from the same root, a small piece that carries a core meaning. Once you learn one word from a family, you can understand many others without any dictionary. Think about the word joy. You probably already know this one. Now, if you see joyful, what does it mean? Full of joy. And if you see joyless, it means without joy. Enjoyable means able to bring joy. Rejoice means to feel great joy. From just one root word, you have unlocked an entire family. That is how fast and efficiently your vocabulary can grow when you learn with awareness rather than memorization. Let's practice with another root, the root port, which comes from Latin and means to carry. If you know that import means to bring goods into a country, then you can guess that export means to send goods out. Transport means to carry people or things from one place to another. Report means to carry information back to someone. Support means to carry someone from below, to hold them up and help them. All of these words share the same root. You did not need a dictionary for any of them. Shadow these with me slowly and feel the shared rhythm. Import, export, transport, report, support. Beautiful, isn't it? One small piece of meaning, port, unlocks 5 different words instantly. Let's practice with another root, the root vis or vid, which means to see. Vision is what you see. Visible means able to be seen. Invisible means not able to be seen. Visualize means to picture something in your mind. Visual means relating to seeing. All of these are connected by the same root. Try these out loud. Vision, visible, invisible, visualize, visual. Now, do you see how the root lives inside every word? Once your brain learns to look for the root, new vocabulary becomes much less intimidating. Here is one more. The root aud, which means to hear. Audio means sound. Audience means the group of people who listen or watch. Audible means loud enough to be heard. Auditorium is a large room where people listen to performances. Let's hear your voice on these. Audio, audience, audible, auditorium. You have just unlocked 4 words from a single Latin root, and you can do this with hundreds of English roots once you start paying attention to the shapes and pieces of words. Now, let's talk about prefixes, those small pieces added to the beginning of words that completely change or expand their meaning. Once you learn just a handful of prefixes, you can unlock hundreds of words you have never seen before, all on your own. Let's start with un, which usually means not. Comfortable becomes uncomfortable, not comfortable. Happy becomes unhappy, not happy. Finished becomes unfinished, not yet finished. Expected becomes unexpected, not what was expected. Now, the prefix re, which means again. Write becomes rewrite, to write something again. Start becomes restart, to begin again. Build becomes rebuild, to build something again. Play becomes replay, to play something again. The prefix pre means before. Preview means to see something before it is officially released. Predict means to say what will happen before it does. Prepare means to get yourself ready before something happens. Precaution means a careful action taken before a risk. The prefix mis means wrongly or badly. Misunderstand means to understand something wrongly. Misplace means to put something in the wrong place. Misbehave means to behave badly. Misjudge means to judge someone or something incorrectly. And the prefix over means too much. Oversleep means to sleep too much and wake up late. Overwork means to work too much without resting. Overconfident means too confident, more than is wise or reasonable. Overreact means to react with more emotion than the situation deserves. Practice these out loud. Uncomfortable, rewrite, preview, misplace, overwork. Now, try to make your own sentences with 3 of these words. For example, I had to rewrite my essay because I made too many mistakes. She was overconfident before the exam and did not study enough. He misplaced his keys again this morning. Making your own sentences is the single fastest way to truly own a new word. When you use a word in your own story, it becomes part of you. Now let's talk about suffixes, the small pieces added to the end of words that tell you what kind of word it is. The suffix or means a person who does something. Teach becomes teacher. Write becomes writer. Drive becomes driver. Act becomes actor. Build becomes builder. Create becomes creator. The suffix full means full of. Joy becomes joyful. Beauty becomes beautiful. Care becomes careful. Gratitude becomes grateful. Wonder becomes wonderful. Power becomes powerful. The suffix less means without. Hope becomes hopeless. Fear becomes fearless. Care becomes careless. Power becomes powerless. Meaning becomes meaningless. Sleep becomes sleepless. The suffix ness turns an adjective into a noun, meaning the state of being. Happy becomes happiness. Sad becomes sadness. Dark becomes darkness. Kind becomes kindness. Lonely becomes loneliness. Ready becomes readiness. And the suffix ly turns an adjective into an adverb, describing how something is done. Quick becomes quickly. Careful becomes carefully. Loud becomes loudly. Soft becomes softly. Brave becomes bravely. Sudden becomes suddenly. Now here is something really powerful that I want you to try with every new word you learn from now on. When you learn a new word, try to find all 4 of its forms: the noun form, the adjective form, the adverb form, and the verb form. For example, take the word beauty. The noun is beauty. The adjective is beautiful. The adverb is beautifully. And the verb is to beautify, which means to make something more beautiful. Or take the word strength. The noun is strength. The adjective is strong. The adverb is strongly. And the verb is to strengthen, which means to make something stronger. Or take the word care. The noun is care. The adjective is careful. The adverb is carefully. And the verb is to care, meaning to feel concern or love for something. When you learn a word in all 4 of its forms, you are not learning one word. You are learning 4 words at the same time. That is one of the smartest vocabulary strategies available to any learner at any level. Follow my rhythm. Beauty, beautiful, beautifully, beautify. Strength, strong, strongly, strengthen. Care, careful, carefully, care for. Hear the patterns in your voice. Feel how each form grows naturally out of the one before it. This is how your vocabulary grows, not one word at a time, but in beautiful, connected families. Now let's shift to context clues inside sentences, because there are 4 specific types of clues that appear in English sentences. And when you learn to recognize them, you will be able to guess the meaning of almost any new word you encounter anywhere in the world. The first type is a definition clue. This is when the sentence directly explains the new word for you, using phrases like which means, in other words, that is, or simply a comma followed by the explanation. For example, she is an only child, which means she has no brothers or sisters. The doctor diagnosed her with insomnia, a condition where a person cannot sleep. He was described as an introvert, someone who prefers quiet and alone time over social situations. In every case, the sentence is giving you the definition built right inside it. You do not need to look anywhere else. The second type is an example clue. This is when the sentence gives you examples of the word, often using signal phrases like such as, for example, including, or like. He enjoys physical activities such as running, swimming, and cycling. Even if you did not know the phrase physical activities before, you understand from the examples that it means exercise you do with your body. She bought a selection of fresh produce, including tomatoes, spinach, and carrots. From the examples, you know produce means fresh fruits and vegetables. The third type is a contrast clue. This is when the sentence contrasts the new word with something you already know, using signal words like unlike, however, but, on the other hand, although, or yet. Unlike his energetic brother, Tom is lazy and slow. If you know energetic means full of energy, then lazy must mean the opposite, someone who does not like to move or make effort. Although the weather was harsh, the flowers were surprisingly resilient. Harsh sounds negative and difficult, so resilient must mean something positive, something like strong, tough, or able to survive difficulty. The soup was bland, but the sauce was full of rich flavor. Bland must be the opposite of full of rich flavor, meaning without taste or interest. The fourth type is a mood or tone clue. This is when the overall emotional atmosphere of the sentence reveals the feeling of the unknown word. She slammed the door furiously. Slamming a door furiously. You do not even need to think about it. You feel the anger. Furiously means with great, overwhelming anger. He whispered tenderly to the sleeping baby. Whispering. A sleeping baby. Being gentle. Tenderly must mean gently and with deep love and care. She tiptoed cautiously into the dark room. Tiptoed. Dark room. Cautious. You can feel the nervousness and care in the movement. Cautiously means in a very careful way, trying not to make mistakes or noise. These 4 clue types are everywhere in English, and the more you practice finding them, the more automatic it becomes, until you are doing it completely without thinking, the way a native speaker does. Let's practice now with all 4 types together. She was known for her frugality. She never spent more money than she needed to. Definition clue. The sentence explains frugality right after the comma. Frugality means being very careful and clever with money, not wasteful. He loved outdoor sports, such as hiking, kayaking, and rock climbing. Example clue. From the examples you know, these are activities done in nature with physical effort. Unlike her timid sister, Maria was bold and spoke her mind freely. Contrast clue. Timid is the opposite of bold. Timid means shy, soft, afraid to speak or stand out. He stormed out of the room. knocking his chair over behind him. Mood clue, the energy, the knocked chair, the sudden departure. Stormed means left in a state of great anger, forcefully and without pause. The old library had a musty smell, like paper and dust that had been sitting for 100 years. Mood and example clue together. Musty means having an old, damp, stale smell, the way a closed room smells after a very long time. Practice finding these 4 clue types every single time you read in English. Soon it will feel completely natural and almost invisible, the way a fluent speaker processes language. Now let's talk about emotions, because emotions are one of the most powerful memory tools in all of language learning. Every word carries a certain feeling, and your brain is extremely good at storing things that feel emotionally meaningful. Scientists who study memory have shown that when learning is connected to emotion, information moves more deeply into long-term memory. This is one of the main reasons that stories, movies, and real conversations help you remember vocabulary so much better than word lists ever can. Lists are dry and empty. Stories are alive. For example, listen to this sentence. She was delighted to finally meet her favorite actor. Even if delighted is new, you can feel from the sentence that it is something positive and exciting. She is happy, maybe even overjoyed. So delighted means very happy and deeply pleased. Say this one with feeling. Delighted means very happy. Now imagine yourself meeting someone you truly admire. Feel that excitement and disbelief rising in your chest, and read it aloud again. I was absolutely delighted to meet her. Can you feel how the emotion makes the word stay alive in your memory? That is exactly how this technique works. The feeling anchors the word. Let's practice with another one. He was heartbroken when his team lost the final match. The word is heartbroken. Notice the tone. It is the complete opposite of delighted. The team lost. He feels devastated. His heart feels like it has been broken into pieces. So heartbroken means extremely sad, the kind of sadness that feels physical. Try saying it out loud. Heartbroken means very, very deeply sad. Then say, he was heartbroken when his team lost. Feel the heavy, sinking emotion as you speak. That heaviness is your memory working perfectly. Now let's do a role play exercise. I will give you a short scene, and you repeat it after me while truly trying to feel the word inside it. Anna was anxious before giving her big presentation. Shadow this scene with me. Anna was anxious before giving her big presentation. Anxious means worried or nervous, feeling uncertain about what is going to happen. Can you remember a time you felt anxious? Maybe before an important exam? Maybe before speaking in front of people? Maybe before a job interview? Connect that personal memory to this sentence right now. Feel that nervousness in your stomach. Now the word belongs to you. It is part of your story. Another role play. James was thrilled when he got the job he always wanted. Let's voice this one together. James was thrilled when he got the job he always wanted. Thrilled means extremely happy and excited, almost unable to believe that something wonderful is really happening. Feel the excitement rise inside your body as you say it. Let a small smile come to your face as you speak. I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled. This exercise helps you not only understand the word, but truly embody it, to feel it from the inside out. And once your body and your mind both feel a word, no dictionary will ever need to remind you of it again. Let's do one more emotional role play. She was devastated when she heard the news about her friend. Devastated means completely destroyed emotionally, feeling a shock of sadness so powerful that it almost takes your breath away. Try whispering this one. She was devastated when she heard the news. Feel the word. Let it sit with you for a moment. Devastated. That is a deep and heavy word, and now it belongs to you because you felt it, not just read it. Now let's move into another important and very practical skill, noticing synonyms and antonyms in real situations. Synonyms are words that have similar or the same meanings. Antonyms are words that have opposite meanings. If you know one, you can very often guess the other, and texts in English are full of both. For example, you already know big. If you hear huge, you can guess it is similar. If you hear tiny, you can guess it is the opposite. Let's practice with sentences. The movie was amusing, and everyone in the theater laughed loudly. What could amusing mean? If everyone laughed, it must mean funny, entertaining, enjoyable. Amusing is a synonym of funny. Another one. The mountain was immense compared to the houses below. Immense is similar to big, but much, much larger. Immense means extremely large, almost impossible to measure. Now an antonym example. The room was dark, unlike the bright hallway outside. From the contrast, you know dark means not bright, without much light. See how easy it is when you pay attention to contrast words like unlike and but? Let's try more. The soup was piping hot when it arrived at the table. Piping hot means extremely hot, just arrived, almost burning. The street was empty late at night, but in the morning it was crowded. Empty must be the opposite of crowded. Empty means having no people, nothing there. Her handwriting is messy, but his is tidy. Messy means not clean or organized, all over the place. Tidy means neat, ordered, clean. The old woman walked with graceful, elegant steps, unlike the clumsy way her grandchildren moved. Graceful and elegant are on one side. Clumsy is on the other. Clumsy means moving in an awkward, uncoordinated way, often bumping into things or making mistakes with the body. This technique is so powerful because texts, books, and conversations naturally use comparisons and contrasts everywhere. And once you start paying attention to these patterns, you can learn new words automatically every single time you read or listen to something in English. Here is another technique that works beautifully for all levels. When you hear a new word, try to mentally replace it with a simpler word you already know, and see if the sentence still makes sense. For example, the mountain was colossal. Maybe you do not know colossal. Replace it with big. Does it fit? Yes, perfectly. So colossal means very, very big. She whispered something to him. Replace whispered with spoke quietly. It fits exactly. This trick helps you stay in the flow of understanding instead of stopping and breaking your concentration for translation. Let's practice together. The dessert was delicious. Replace with tasty. Yes, it works perfectly. Delicious means extremely tasty, full of wonderful flavor. He was furious about the mistake. Replace with very angry. Yes, furious means extremely angry, almost out of control with anger. The students were silent. Replace with quiet. Yes, silent means completely without sound, not even a whisper. The runner was exhausted at the finish line. Replace with very tired. Yes, exhausted means completely drained of energy, needing to rest immediately. Every time you try this substitution method, you are training your brain to guess meaning quickly and confidently, which is exactly what fluent speakers do every day. Now, let's talk about something that makes English especially fascinating, and that is words that carry their meaning in their very sound. In English, many words describe sounds, and they often sound almost exactly like the thing they are describing. Linguists call this onomatopoeia, but you do not need to remember that word. What you need to remember is the feeling. Buzz is the sound of a bee or a vibrating phone. When you say buzz, your lips and voice almost make that same vibrating sound. Bang is the sudden sound of something hitting hard. Say it out loud. Bang. Can you feel the impact in the word itself? Crash is the sound of something breaking suddenly and loudly. Whisper is soft and barely audible, almost like the sound itself. Drip is the sound of water falling one drop at a time. Crackle is the sound of a fire or dry leaves breaking. Let's make these sounds together. Buzz, bang, crash, whisper, drip, crackle. When you say these words, you can actually hear their meaning. Let's place them in sentences now. The phone buzzed on the table. The door banged shut in the wind. The glass crashed to the floor. She whispered my name in the quiet room. Rain dripped from the roof all night. The fire crackled warmly in the corner. Can you hear the sound in each one as you repeat? That is how sound-based words teach themselves. Your ears and your voice together become your dictionary. Now, let's talk about another excellent technique for understanding any English word, and that is meeting the same word in many different situations. When your brain encounters the same word in several different contexts, it automatically builds a full, flexible, and natural understanding of that word. For example, think of the word light. If you read, "The sun gives us light," you understand it means brightness. Later, if you hear, "This box is light," you realize it also means not heavy. Then, if you read, "Please light the candle," you notice it can also mean to start a fire or to make something bright. Same word, three completely different contexts, three connected meanings. Your brain collects all of these pieces and builds a complete, rich picture all by itself. You did not need to memorize anything. You simply noticed. and noticing is the most powerful learning habit of all. Let's practice this together. The word is watch. He likes to watch movies. Here, watch means to look at something, to observe. She wears a watch on her wrist. Here, it is a noun, a small clock you wear on the body. Please watch the children while I cook. Here, watch means to take care of, to keep an eye on someone. Same word, 3 different uses, 3 different contexts, 1 flexible and complete understanding. Shadow each meaning with me. He likes to watch movies. She wears a watch on her wrist. Please watch the children while I cook. And notice how your brain naturally adjusts to each meaning based on the situation around the word. Now, let's do a little active practice with this. Think about your own day today. Can you use the word watch in 3 different ways to describe something from your life? You could say, I watched a show this morning. I checked my watch before leaving the house. My mother asked me to watch my little brother for an hour. You just use the same word naturally in 3 different ways inside your own personal story. That is how you master vocabulary. Not by memorizing, but by living with the word until it feels completely natural in your mouth. Before we bring all of these skills together, I want you to take one more quick physical break. Roll your neck gently. Take a sip of water and shake out any tension in your hands. You are doing incredible work today. Let's move into our next practice. Now, let's bring everything together and practice with some beautiful short stories, because stories are where all of these skills come together at once. When you listen to a story, you are using context clues, emotional connection, visualization, and word patterns all at the same time. Stories are the most complete vocabulary practice available to any learner. Listen carefully to this first story and shadow each sentence after me. It was a quiet Sunday morning. The streets were empty and peaceful. An old man strolled slowly through the park, feeding the birds from his pocket. He paused near a bench to admire the flowers that were blooming along the path. He took a deep breath of the fresh morning air and smiled contentedly. Let's look at a few of the words. Strolled means walked in a slow, relaxed, and enjoyable way. Paused means stopped briefly, for just a moment. Blooming means growing and opening up beautifully, the way flowers do in spring. Contentedly means in a way that shows complete happiness and inner peace. Let's voice these together. Strolled, paused, blooming, contentedly. Now repeat the whole story slowly. Let the picture form in your mind. The quiet park, the old man, the flowers. Every detail helps every word stay. Here is our next short story. Listen carefully. The kitchen was warm and full of wonderful smells. Maria was humming softly to herself as she stirred the soup on the stove. Her children were gathered at the table, chatting noisily about their day at school. When she placed the steaming bowls in front of them, they fell completely silent and reached eagerly for their spoons. The words, humming means making a gentle musical sound with your lips closed, a soft tune without words. Stirred means moved a spoon or utensil slowly through a liquid to mix it. Chatting means talking in a relaxed, friendly, casual way. Steaming means sending out hot steam, which means the food is very hot and freshly made. Eagerly means with great enthusiasm and excitement, wanting something very much. Practice these sounds. humming, stirred, chatting, steaming, eagerly. Repeat the story in your mind. Picture Maria in that warm kitchen. Hear the children's voices. Smell the soup. The more senses you use, the more the words stay. And here is one more story to close our practice. Listen carefully. The city was alive with activity on the afternoon of the festival. Colorful banners hung between the buildings. Street musicians played lively tunes on every corner. Children raced between the stalls, their eyes wide with wonder. As the sun began to set, lanterns were lit, and the whole street glowed with a soft and magical light. The words, "Banners" means large pieces of cloth or material with writing or pictures, hung up to celebrate something. Lively means full of energy, excitement, and movement. Stalls means small temporary shops or tables set up in an open area, often at a market or festival. Glowed means shone with a warm, soft, steady light. Shadow this final group. Banners, lively, stalls, glowed. Now repeat the whole scene slowly in your mind. Picture every detail, the colors, the music, the lanterns, the light. That is not just vocabulary practice. That is your brain building a permanent memory. Those words will stay with you because you did not just learn them. You experienced them. Now, I also want to talk about something that many learners overlook completely, and that is the importance of reading aloud. When most people study vocabulary, they read silently in their heads. They see the word, they understand the meaning, and they move on. But here's the problem with that. Silent reading only uses one part of your brain. When you read aloud, something very different happens. Your eyes see the word, your mouth forms the sounds, your ears hear the word, and your brain processes the meaning. All four of these things happen at the exact same moment. And when four parts of your experience connect to one single word, that word has 4 times the chance of staying in your memory. This is the science behind shadowing, and it is why I always ask you to repeat sentences out loud during our lessons together. So, from now on, whenever you are practicing English, even if you are alone, even if you feel a little silly, say the words out loud. Whisper them if you need to, but let your voice be part of the learning. Your voice is one of your most powerful vocabulary tools. Let me give you a practical exercise you can do every single day to build this habit. Choose any short paragraph from a book, an article, a news story, or even a recipe. Read it once silently. Then read it a second time out loud, slowly and clearly. Then, on the third read, close your eyes after each sentence and try to repeat it from memory. You will be surprised how quickly your brain starts to hold the words. This 3-step reading method, silent, aloud, and from memory, is one of the most effective vocabulary and fluency practices that language researchers have ever studied. And it costs you nothing. All you need is a short piece of text and your own voice. Here is a short paragraph for us to practice this method right now. Listen to me read it first. Then we will read it together. Then you will try to repeat it. Ready? The morning sky was soft and gray, full of clouds that moved slowly like heavy curtains. A light wind rustled through the trees, and somewhere in the garden, a bird began to sing. It was the kind of morning that made you want to stay inside with a warm drink and a good book. Now let's look at the vocabulary. Soft and gray describes a sky that is gentle and cloudy, not bright or harsh. Rustled means made a soft, dry, whispering sound. the way leaves sound when a light wind moves through them. Now, repeat the paragraph after me, slowly and with full feeling. The morning sky was soft and gray, full of clouds that moved slowly like heavy curtains. A light wind rustled through the trees, and somewhere in the garden, a bird began to sing. It was the kind of morning that made you want to stay inside, with a warm drink and a good book. Now, close your eyes and try to say as much of it as you can from memory. Even if you only remember one sentence, you have already done something powerful. You have made the language yours. Let me also share with you a wonderful technique for practicing vocabulary during your everyday activities. It is called silent narration, and it is one of my favorite habits for building English naturally. Here is how it works. As you go about your daily life, describe what you are doing in English inside your head, or out loud if you are alone. For example, if you are making breakfast, you might think to yourself, I am taking the eggs out of the refrigerator. I am cracking them into the bowl. I am whisking them quickly. I am pouring the mixture into the hot pan. The eggs are sizzling. I am waiting for them to set. Do you see what is happening? You are attaching English words to real physical actions and real sensory experiences. You are not studying. You are living in English. And every word you use in silent narration becomes a little more natural, a little more automatic, a little more truly yours. Try it today. When you wash the dishes, narrate in English. When you walk to the shop, describe what you see. When you sit down for dinner, think about the food in English. The colors, the smells, the textures. Sweet, salty, crunchy, soft, fragrant, steaming. These are all vocabulary words, and they are all available to you right now in your everyday life, waiting for you to notice them and claim them as your own. Now, I want to also talk about word personality. Every English word has not just a meaning, but a personality, a feeling that it carries, a weight or a lightness, a speed or a slowness, a warmth or a coldness. Native speakers feel these personalities instinctively, and as you grow in your English, you will begin to feel them too. For example, the word gentle feels soft and quiet when you say it. Try it. Gentle. Feel how your voice naturally softens. The word crash feels sudden and forceful. Try it. Crash. Feel the impact. The word whisper feels small and secret. Whisper. The word roar feels large and powerful. Roar. These are not just sounds. These are personalities. And when you start to feel the personality of a word, you stop needing to look it up. You simply know it. Let's practice feeling the personality of some words together. Read each word out loud and let your voice match its energy. Gentle. Fierce. Quiet. Thunderous. Delicate. Sturdy. Drift. Slam. Glow. Shatter. Did you feel the difference? Gentle was soft. Fierce was strong. Thunderous was huge and powerful. Drift was slow and floating. Slam was sudden and hard. Glow was warm and steady. Shatter was sudden and broken. Now, let's place them in sentences and feel them fully. The butterfly drifted slowly over the field. Drifted means floated gently without direction. The door slammed shut in the wind. Slammed means closed very suddenly and loudly with force. The old lamp glowed warmly in the corner of the room. The glass shattered when it hit the floor. Shattered means broke suddenly into many pieces. Follow my voice for each sentence. Drift, slam, glow, shatter. Feel every single one. Now, here is a beautiful collection of daily shadowing sentences. Each one contains a real, useful word. I will give you the sentence, then we will look at the word together. Take your time with each group. There is no rush. The tired mother finally sat down after a long day, closed her eyes, and let out a slow, quiet sigh. Sigh means to breathe out slowly and audibly, usually as an expression of tiredness, relief, or sadness. The hikers were exhausted when they finally reached the summit of the mountain, but the view made every step worthwhile. Summit means the very top of a mountain. Worthwhile means worth the effort, valuable enough to justify the difficulty. Try those two words, sigh, summit, worthwhile. Good. Let's continue. The young boy gazed up at the night sky with wide, curious eyes, counting the stars one by one. Gazed means looked steadily and with great attention, usually at something beautiful. The old bridge creaked under their weight as they crossed to the other side. Creaked means made a long, low, squeaking sound, the way old wood makes when it is under pressure. Voice these with me. Gazed. Creaked. Can you picture both scenes clearly? Good. That picture is your memory. She folded the letter carefully and tucked it into an envelope, sealing it with a gentle press of her fingers. Folded means bent something flat along a line. Tucked means place something neatly into a small space. The city looked completely different at night, glittering with thousands of tiny lights reflected in the river below. Glittering means shining with many small, bright flashes, like stars or diamonds. Let's try them. Folded, tucked, glittering. Beautiful words, aren't they? The little girl ran to her grandmother with open arms, and the old woman caught her in a warm, tight embrace. Embrace means a hug, the act of holding someone lovingly in your arms. The professor spoke in a soft, measured voice, pausing after each point to let the students absorb what they had heard. Measured means slow and carefully controlled. Absorb means to take in and understand fully. Let the words flow. Embrace, measured, absorb. Each of these is a gift. Each one is a small door into the English language, and you opened every single one today without a dictionary. And here is my final gift to you today. 5 words I want you to take into your week. 5 words you are going to meet again soon in conversations, in books, and in real life. I will give you each one inside a sentence. Try to guess the meaning before I explain it. The children were fascinated by the magician's performance, unable to look away for even a single second. Fascinated means completely captivated, deeply interested, your attention fully captured. It is stronger and more intense than just interested. The old painting was remarkably well preserved, considering it was more than 300 years old. Preserved means kept in its original condition, protected from damage or change. Now, these next two words are a little more advanced, so take your time and listen carefully before guessing. She approached the conversation with great diplomacy, choosing her words carefully so that no one felt hurt or judged. Diplomacy means the skill of handling difficult situations or people in a sensitive and respectful way. A diplomatic person knows how to be honest without causing unnecessary pain. The team worked with remarkable cohesion, each member trusting the others completely. Cohesion means the quality of staying and working together as a united, connected group. When a team has cohesion, each part supports the others perfectly. And finally, his calm and steady presence had a soothing effect on everyone in the room. Soothing means producing a feeling of calm, comfort, and relief. A soothing voice is soft and gentle. A soothing word at the right moment can change a whole situation. Shadow these 5 words one last time. Fascinated, preserved, diplomacy, cohesion, soothing. These are your 5 words for the week. Use them. Notice them when they appear. Write them in your notebook with their sentences. And remember, you understood every single one of them today from context alone. No dictionary, no translation, just you and the clues, and the remarkable power of your own mind. I also want to give you a simple daily review habit that will make everything you learned today stick for a long time. At the end of each day, sit quietly for just 5 minutes and think back through the English you encountered. Pick 2 or 3 words that stood out to you, words that were new or interesting. Write them down in a small notebook, not just the word alone, but the sentence it was in. That sentence is the context. That sentence is the memory. That sentence is the bridge between the word and your brain. Over time, that little notebook will become one of your most valuable possessions. Not because it is full of definitions, but because it is full of moments. Moments where you noticed, guessed, and understood. That notebook is your story, written in English, one word at a time. Now let's close with one final practice story. This one is for you to enjoy. Listen carefully, feel the scenes, and notice any new words from everything around them. It was the last day of summer, and the air had that particular sweetness that only comes at the end of something beautiful. Clara walked barefoot along the shore, letting the cool water rush over her feet with each gentle wave. She had been coming to this beach every summer since she was a child, and now, standing here as an adult, she felt a quiet ache of nostalgia. Things had changed. People had moved away. Time had passed, but the sea was still the same. Patient, endless, and completely indifferent to the small sorrows of human hearts. She sat down on the warm sand, wrapped her arms around her knees, and watched the sun slowly melt into the horizon. Tomorrow would bring new things, new challenges, new words she did not yet know. But tonight, this moment was enough. Shore means the edge of the sea where the water meets the land. Barefoot means without shoes, feet touching the ground directly. Nostalgia means a warm, slightly sad feeling when you think about happy times from the past. Indifferent means not caring, not affected by something. Horizon means the line far in the distance where the sky meets the sea. Practice these out loud. Shore, barefoot, nostalgia, indifferent, horizon. Did you understand most of the story before we looked at the definitions? I am certain you did, because the context was rich, the emotions were clear, and your brain was doing exactly what it is designed to do: finding meaning, building understanding, learning naturally. Think back on everything we practiced together today. You learned how to use the context around a new word to guess its meaning. You discovered that English words come from families, and that knowing one word helps you understand many others. You practiced the 4 types of context clues: definition, example, contrast, and mood. You learned how prefixes and suffixes unlock the meaning of hundreds of new words. You practice connecting words to emotions, to stories, and to your own personal memories. You practice shadowing, repeating sentences out loud so that words become part of your voice. And you practiced with full stories, using every skill at the same time. With each exercise, you were training your brain to trust itself, to stop translating, to stop panicking, and to think directly in English. This change does not happen in one day. It grows slowly and steadily, like a tree. But every single time you hear a new word and choose to guess rather than immediately translate, you are growing stronger. Every time you meet a new word, you now have a choice. You can stop, feel frustrated, and reach for a dictionary. Or you can smile, take a breath, and say, "Let me look at the clues. Let me discover." If you choose the second option again and again, your brain will become faster, more flexible, and more confident. Words that once felt scary will begin to feel friendly. This is exactly what happens when you practice the right way, and you are already doing it. Now, I want you to make a promise to yourself, not to me, but to yourself. Speak these words out loud. I will not be afraid of new words. I will look at the clues. I will make smart guesses. I will trust my brain. I will practice every day, and I will become fluent. Say it again, slowly, and mean every word. I will not be afraid. I will look at the clues. I will trust my brain. I will become fluent. That promise is not just words. It is a commitment to your own growth. Carry it with you every single day. You are doing something extraordinary by being here. Every day that you choose to learn, you are giving yourself a gift that no one can ever take away from you. The ability to communicate in another language opens doors, builds bridges between people, and shows the world that you are curious, brave, and committed to growth. Be proud of yourself for that. Be proud of every single word you learn, no matter how small it seems. Because small words build big sentences build conversations. Conversations build confidence. And confidence, my friend, builds fluency. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. It has been a true and genuine joy to learn and grow together. If you found this lesson helpful, please subscribe to English in Moments and press the bell icon so you never miss a new video. We share lessons every single day to help you grow your English step by step, with warmth, with patience, and with genuine care for your success. Keep reading, keep listening, Keep repeating. Keep noticing. And above all, keep going. Even on the days when it feels slow. Even on the days when it feels hard. Keep going. Because fluency is not a destination you suddenly arrive at. It is a journey you take one word, one sentence, one story, and one brave choice at a time. And you are already on that journey. You are already moving forward. I am so proud to walk this road with you. Thank you for watching. I believe in you completely, and I will see you in the very next lesson. Now, there is one more thing I want to leave you with before you go, and it is something I feel very strongly about. Many learners wait until they feel ready before they start speaking. They tell themselves, I will speak when my vocabulary is bigger. I will speak when my grammar is perfect. I will speak when I feel confident enough. But here is the truth. Confidence does not come before speaking. Confidence comes from speaking. Every time you open your mouth and say something in English, even if it is imperfect, even if it is slow, even if you make a mistake, you are building confidence, not the other way around. So do not wait. Speak today. Speak now. Say one sentence out loud before this video ends. It does not matter what the sentence is. It could be as simple as, today I am practicing my English, or I am learning new words every day, or even, I am watching English in Moments and I am growing. Say it out loud right now, because that one sentence, that small, imperfect, brave sentence, is the beginning of fluency. I also want to remind you of something very important that applies to every single person watching this video. Making mistakes is not a sign of failure. Making mistakes is a sign of effort. And effort is the only thing that leads to progress. When you say a word wrong, when you guess the meaning incorrectly, when you forget a word you learned last week, do not be hard on yourself. Every mistake is your brain learning. Every mistake is a step closer to fluency. Native speakers make mistakes too. Writers make mistakes. Teachers make mistakes. The only people who never make mistakes are the people who never try. And you are trying every single day. That makes you extraordinary. So here is your homework for this week. Each day, choose one new English word from something you read, hear, or watch. Write it in your notebook with its sentence. Make one sentence of your own with it, and say it out loud at least 3 times. That is it. One word, one sentence, 3 repetitions. Done in 5 minutes. At the end of the week, look back at your 7 words. Say them all. Feel how naturally they come now. And then start the next week. This simple, small habit, practiced with consistency and with heart, will change your English more than any app, any course, or any word list ever could. Because it is yours. It is personal. It is real. And it is built on the most powerful foundation of all, which is your own daily choice to grow. Go now and use your English. Read something today. Listen to something tonight. Speak one sentence out loud before you sleep. And come back tomorrow, because there is always more to discover, and I will always be here to discover it with you. And before you go, let me give you one final thought that I hope you carry with you long after this video ends. Language is not just a skill. It is a window. Every new word you learn is a new window opening in your mind, letting in a little more light, a little more of the world, a little more of other people's lives and thoughts and stories. When you learn the word nostalgia, you are not just learning a vocabulary item. You are learning a whole human feeling that people across cultures experience and treasure. When you learn the word resilient, you are not just learning an adjective. You are learning a quality that humans have admired and celebrated for thousands of years. When you learn the word embrace, you are not just learning a verb. You are learning one of the most universal expressions of love and connection that exists. Words are not just tools for communication. They are gifts. Every single one. And every time you learn a new one, your world gets a little bigger, a little richer, and a little more beautiful. So learn with curiosity. Learn with joy. Learn with the understanding that every word is a small treasure, waiting for you to pick it up, turn it over, feel its weight, and make it yours. That is what we do here at English in Moments. That is what Elena and I invite you to do every single day. Not just to study English, but to fall in love with its rhythms and its stories, and its surprising connections, and its beautiful, endless variety. Because when you love a language, you never stop growing in it. And you, my friend, have everything you need to grow. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for your time, for your attention, for your courage, and for your trust. I will see you in the next lesson. Keep going. One last practice before you truly go. I want you to shadow these 5 sentences out loud, one by one, as your final act in today's lesson. Each sentence uses a word from what we studied today. Say them slowly, clearly, and with feeling. Ready? I was absolutely delighted when I finally understood a sentence without using a dictionary. The children were chuckling as they chased the puppy through the radiant garden. She wandered contently along the shore as the sun melted into the horizon. He was exhausted after the long journey, but felt deeply relieved to be home. I am not afraid of new words. I am fascinated by them, and every day I grow stronger. Say each one again, and this time, as you say them, remember everything you practiced today. The pictures, the emotions, the stories, the patterns, they are all yours now. Carry them with you, use them, and come back tomorrow for more. You have done something real today, something meaningful. You sat down, you paid attention, you repeated, you imagined, you felt, and you grew. That is not a small thing. That is exactly what progress looks like. And tomorrow, when you pick up a book or watch a video or have a conversation in English, you will notice something different. You will notice that you pause a little less at new words. You will notice that your brain reaches for the clues a little faster. you will notice that the language feels a little closer, a little more like home. That is the gift of today's practice, and it belongs entirely to you.